The Spoken Token is a proud member of the Pod Studio One podcast network. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the big show. I am Larry Neal.
Hey, and I am Alex Wallace, and we are the Spoken Token. I thought we were going to do like a little...
No, that was great.
No, but... Oh, man.
Chalk that up to me. It's the rust is on me.
Oh, man. Is that what that flaky stuff is?
Oh, man, you didn't have to go there.
I just thought it was dandruff.
No, that's not right at all. Everybody knows that I'm bald. Oh.
That's true. You're very bald. So, but you pull off bald really, really well.
I appreciate that.
And it's more like a meeple haircut. I think that's what that's what you're going for. You're going for the meeple cut.
The meeple. We coined it here,
that's
folks.
Right here.
It's the meeple.
It's the meeple. Yeah.
All I know is that I said when I was younger, I looked around and I looked at the gentlemen and various different stages of being distinguished. The gray and the bald and whatever. And when I saw the hair halo for the first time, I said, that is not what I'm going to do. So the moment it starts leaving, it's all gone.
It's all going. I did.
No offense to all my hair halo wearing brethren out
there.
True. I just couldn't pull that one
That's
off.
True. That's true. You know what I'm going to start doing, though? Anytime I have a green meeple, I'm going to just do a little hair halo just for you. Because that's when you come over to the house, you'll have to play with the hair halo meeple.
It's terrible. Hey, if you do it, I'll play with it. That is great.
Hey, man, we got to play some games today.
We did get to play some games today,
yeah.
And man, this
is some good games.
It is.
We play some good games.
But what time of the year it is? Second favorite time of the year.
Yes, it's pollen season. I mean, wait, sorry.
Oh man, no, that wasn't it.
No, that's true. We are in the summer of
games. Summer of games is something that we do around here every year. Okay, so we didn't do it at first, but we got into it. And what we like to do, we like to concentrate on some games. We will give it some themes. We're going to get to that in just a moment. At the end of every show during our quote-unquote summer of games, Alex and I will give you a suggestion for a game to go out right after you finish listening to the show. That's guaranteed. It is Spoken Token approved. You and your family, or your family and your game group will enjoy the game. But this year, for the theme of Summer of Games, Mr. Alex, what do we have, sir? I'll do the drum roll in my head.
Okay, in your head. So I remember that I gave you the name of it, but I don't remember what that name was. So
read the notes, man.
Is it in the notes? Oh, it is. Cool. Yes. Woohoo! So I do remember it coming up with this. Yes. So all right, can I have an official drum roll, please?
Oh man, let's try to salvage it. So sure,
quickly. And this year's Summer of Games 2023 edition is Summer Speedway.
So what's that all about?
It's about a gas station. No, not really.
Oh man, I wish I had any clue that the show was going to be one of those shows.
No, so Summer Speedway. So we are focusing primarily on racing-themed games. So this could be
finish the sentence.
Yeah, racing. I was going to say this could be in all forms. So not just cars, not just bicycles.
That means some surprises.
That's true, but we're throwing in racing camels and racing square cubes and any other things that can be raced. So, and galaxies, I mean, I guess could you race for the galaxy? Is that officially a race game, do you think?
It is.
It is?
It absolutely is.
Because all right, but I will make the quick caveat, as I just discovered here in my own thinking. Most games are kind of a race because it's like you're racing to the end game point. But we are specifically focusing on games where
you are causing an existential dilemma for everybody who's listening right now.
Well, I had an existential dilemma, like not existential, but existential. Like a little egg came and said, "Hey, you should probably
My name is Stenchel, and you have a problem."
That's true, and you should probably clarify this for your listeners. But no, but I do think there's that caveat is out there. As most games are a race to an end game, we are focusing on games where the primary concept, I don't know why I can't say that word, primary concept is to simulate an actual race where
of some type.
Yes, of some type.
Like again, they may not all be straightforward, but we'll get into that as the summer goes on. And flipping back just a little bit, because like you said earlier, or just a moment ago, we got to play some games today.
We did that are not race themed.
Really, well, one of them is really,
yes.
really good, and we did want to talk about one of them briefly here in the intro. And I know it's gotten all the rage lately, and you know us, we'll get around to them when we get around to them. Not that we're trying to be contrary or late, but, other things happen. But we finally got a chance to play together, because Alex has already played it, but today was my first time playing Earth. Which is fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. If there was a Venn diagram of terraforming Mars and Ark Nova and then some other game, because usually Venn diagrams need 3, don't they? I guess
I don't even know.
You could have 2. It's the one with the circles overlap. But no, this one really kind of has that terraforming Mars card building itch with the Ark Nova theme of nature and those kinds of things, but it seems a little bit more accessible to me than both of those. And you're kind of one of the things I really enjoy about it is that on every player's turn, everyone else gets to do something, and I think it maximizes downtime substantially, and which is one of the things that I really, really enjoy about it. But the art is just fantastic, especially Wingspan. That was my third game in the Venn diagram. So Earth fits directly in the center of those 3 games.
You be doing all these diagrams and stuff. No wonder you be getting bored and moving on so quick. Why you be doing all this stuff about games, man? Just play the game and see if you like it or not. You writing diagrams and drawing and whatnot.
You should see my Excel spreadsheets.
One of the cool things, you did touch on one of the cool things I like about it, what you said about the turn. On a turn when everyone can do something, when the lead player goes. I do like that mechanic. I don't have to have it in every game, but I do like it, and particularly if it's done well like it is here. But one of the other things that I did like, too, about it that I thought was just brilliant, it's really simple, but it's, you're building, one of the main things that you're doing in Earth, you're building a 4x4 grid of cards. And until you get to the 4x4 grid, you can slide the grid. You can move it, and you can put the first card anywhere, and then all the cards you put around it are orthogonal. And I know a lot of times, particularly in modern board games, and even some going back to even to the mid-'90s, when this modern era for me kind of started, in my estimation, when Catan coming over here in the U.S. and whatnot, one of those rules wouldn't have been there. The way the game was designed. Either you couldn't go orthogonally, or once you put it down, you can't move it. And that's cool, and that makes a challenge. But this just has so much freedom. But there's still a lot of inherent constraints in that.
Yeah.
You still don't get to do anything you want, but you can do a lot by you can slide it over when you need to, up to the 4. You can't go more than 4 high or 4 wide, but you can put them anyway, and you can put them diagonal, and it just, that little extra bit of freedom, which, like I said, in previous game design was really kind of a almost non-rule. It's like, wow, they just didn't put any rule in the rule book, did they? But, it feels so good, though. It feels so good when you're playing. It's like, this is so much freedom, but then you realize how much strategy is really
and I've played this. I played this one more time than Larry, and I played it at a full player count at 5. And I will, just to kind of swing back, talking about that engaged on every other player's turn. Especially very few games at 5 player are you doing something every turn. So there was never any downtime whatsoever. And if you're wanting to be engaged, that this is a huge game to do that, because there's so many little things that you can do and combos that you can trigger and engine building and all those kinds of things. Yeah, it's a great experience. I really, really enjoy it. I understand why it picked up as much publicity as it did.
I do too.
Absolutely. And so I think this is a game that a lot of people are going to enjoy. I think it's just, so I highly recommend it. I mean, it's not an expensive game to find.
I'm looking at it now. Let's see. We're going to say that place last. Let's go to one of our friends here, Miniature Market. Miniature Market. Now, of course, if we don't mention your store here, that's because, we don't know who they are.
That's true.
So get in touch with us and tell us.
We will gladly tell.
We really will.
We will sponsor everything that we say.
And depending on how close they are to us, we're here in Middle Tennessee, we're in Tennessee, we'll even visit.
Yeah.
So by all means, if you've got an FLGS that you love, let us know.
Yeah.
And we will.
But I would say, MSRP right now is probably like
70.
Is it gone up to 70?
Well, in one place it was. Let's see what they have here. Let's see if they have it. They don't even have it showing up at Miniature Market.
Okay. Well,
hold on, though. We've got another place to check.
All right. Well, as we do this, we're going to actually go to break, and Larry will come back with the MSRP. Actually, and we'll have all of that information.
We'll stay right here.
Post-break. So, we'll see you on the other side.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spoken Token Podcast. This time, episode number 118. Join us for the kickoff to our annual Summer of Games. This year's theme is Summer Speedway, where we focus on racing-themed games in all forms all summer long. Join us as we get started this episode with first impressions of racing game Heat, Earth, and keeping it interesting, things heat up as we talk League of Dungeoneers. You do not want to miss that. All this, plus a super good top 3 and so much more. So, sit back, relax, kick the AC into overdrive, and turn us up as we join your hosts, Alex Wallace and Larry Neal. And we are back, and Mr. Alex found the price for us. What's that price of Earth running right now, sir?
Well, actually, I will say that as we did a little bit more research, it was not as easy to find as we thought, but we did find a few copies at Boardlandia. That's Boardlandia. Boardlandia, it's a great site. It's trusted. I've used them quite a few times. They actually have it at a pretty decent price, right at $40. So I'm going to say if that's something you're interested in, apparently it looks like it's hard to find again.
Right.
Yeah, but it's a great place to try and grab it. All the major retailers seem to be out. But yeah, so all right, moving on from Earth, though granted it'd be hard to do because then we would be astronauts. We are moving into, briefly, Larry, our Summer of Games. Summer of Games. Summer of Games. We need like a theme song. Summer of Games. Games are in the summer.
I'm just going to let you keep going.
Alex and Larry playing games when the sun is out and longer and it's the solstice and all the things.
Okay, we'll stop you there. All right, then. Okay. Things were going good, and then you kind of lost your way there. Second verse, you kind of lost your way.
Well, it's just like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song. There's a whole secret verse that nobody knows about. So that's just what I did. It's the solstice verse.
So what we're going to do this time, we're going to get started. We are going to talk about games other than the theme. That is the overall theme. So we will get to that a bit. We'll start with it. We're going to give first impressions of another one of the games that we played today, and it is a race-themed game. And Mr. Alex, what was that game?
We played Heat. Pedal to the metal.
Man, you need to take that car to shop, bro. Something wrong. You don't blow an air gasket or something.
Oh, I could do that all the time. But all right, Heat, Pedal to the Metal. I'm going to let Larry read out the designers, but it's published by Days of Wonder. It was released in the end of 2002.
Yes.
This is another game that's a little bit harder to come by just because it's a Days of Wonder game and it's popular right now.
But look at you being kind.
Yeah,
to Days of Wonder.
Listen, well,
I like Days of Wonder. I don't have anything negative to say, but it's a pattern with them.
Yeah.
But yes, Pedal to the Metal was designed. Looks like the initial designer is Asger, Granerud, and Daniel Pedersen. And like you said, it was published by Days of Wonder here. Was released in 2022.
Yeah, so ultimately,
I'm still reeling. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. Heat in a nutshell is a light deck builder, hand management race car game. And the best thing that I can do, or what I kept feeling as I played it, is that it's the next evolution of what Formula D did. Where Formula D, it took the idea of shifting gears, and then that was the dice that the dice that you rolled. Okay, I can have my opinion. You can.
I'm not stopping you. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about what you're saying as you're saying it. Keep going.
Yeah, but
my bad. I should have been doing this. I'm thinking one. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but you were.
Well, I'm gonna still do that because
it sounds like a creaky door. Okay, but regardless, I see it because where in Formula D you're shifting, and depending on what gear you're in is what dice you can roll, and the higher the gear, the larger number that you can do. Well, in Heat, the main mechanic here is you shift your gear, and that's how many cards you can play. So you have a standardized deck of 12 cards that range from, you have 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, and then you have 2 special cards, a 0 and a 5. And then you have some stress cards, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But ultimately, on your turn, dependent on which gear you're in, is how many cards that you can play. And then let's say you're in third gear, you can play out 3 cards. You play a 3, a 4, and a 4. So that's going to be 7, 11. You can move 11 spaces. Now, there are a lot of more nuanced rules. You have to have a particular idea or a particular thought. When you take curves, you can only go past a certain thing. There are some, and the namesake heat comes from sort of a risk-reward mechanic. So in the deck you have, or in your player area, you have what are called heat cards, which you put into your small little deck as you shuffle them. They're kind of like, weaknesses that you would get in DC Deck Builder, or curses that you would get in Dominion, so things that would clog up your deck.
Right. Just junk for your deck.
Yeah. So junk cards in your deck. And so
it's really cool.
Yeah, and but it's a little hard to wrap your brain around in the beginning because it does some things a little bit differently. And I remember it being like just kind of like what are we doing again?
That's a really safe phrase to use when you teach it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't find that to be the case. But
really?
It's good that you said that, though.
Okay, but
because it sets you up for the mind to be like, okay, let me be paying attention.
Yeah.
And then you kept saying it, and I kept thinking, okay, where's the hard to grasp hook?
Okay,
we'll play it, and I'm sure I'll run into it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Well, I still don't see it.
But
I still think that's a safe phrase to use.
Yeah, because for me, it was I don't even know what it was, but it took me a second to grasp really what was going on.
Gotcha.
But ultimately, once I got one lap in, I was like, oh, it was second nature. And then when I noticed it when I played with you, like I was just going boom, 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 next, boom, 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 boom,
right.
boom,
And
next,
being
boom,
optimal,
boom, boom, boom.
of course, is what I would get to after playing it more. But in terms of what you're doing, I do like the implementation that they did. I've played a lot of Formula D, so obviously we'll talk about that one later on in the summer because that's one that I own, both D and Day. The original is Day with DE. And then, of course, it was re-implemented, and they dropped the E and just made it D. I own both versions still. I do like them both. What I played today in Heat, I can say it's an evolution of the racing game genre, but I wouldn't draw a direct line other than the fact that they're both racing games. And that's a good thing. And that still means that they're connected because, yes, the deck of cards in lieu of rolling dice, I mean, I guess it depends on your...
It's the gear shifting mechanic. That's right. The biggest connector for me.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, they do have that. And, of course, again, cards here in Heat replace the dice.
Right.
In Formula D or Day.
You have a lot more control over what cards come out than what the numbers that are rolled on dice. Of course,
but the flip side of that is you're extremely limited to the numbers. Because 5 is the highest. Well, I mean, you can do more cards, but still you're limited to the numbers. And that's how they get up. You can get pretty high, but there's only one 5.
Right.
So, you can get pretty high. You don't have that big old monster D20. And to be fair, you very seldom chuck that D20 in Formula Day. Yeah. Feels great when you do, but you very seldom do it. And again, I like it. I think it's fantastic.
One of the things that I noticed when I played the second time was how... like my 0 card and my 1 card and my 5 cards, I was very strategic on when I held on to those and when I spent those.
Right. And I kind of did that at the beginning. I mean, I made definitely some suboptimal plays. Finished the first lap first, but the lap that mattered way behind. And so Alex won the game. But I could see the strategy, and I did kind of sink into a Formula D strategy initially, for lack of a better term, and for a 1-lap race that would have worked. Which in Formula D, if you can safely get out, do. Just get out and then use your car, use your brakes, use your body. Those are the things that you use in Formula D when you don't make the corners. Those are the things that you lose. Use those if you can. Take a little bit of damage if it doesn't slow you down too much, and then just try to hold on to the lead and play defense. And that's not the best way to do it here, which I like. I like that about it.
Yeah.
I like Heat quite a bit. First impressions are it is fantastic. I can't wait to play it again. I love the season stuff that's in it. I like that it's got 4 tracks in the box, which is really cool. Formula Day and D both came with 1 in the box. Or 2. They came with 2.
Yeah, flip-sided,
it was double-sided. The production that's why I was chuckling. Days of Wonder, they do this all the time. They fairly well overproduce their games. Games that we're going to talk about later in today's show that are, 15 years old, are better produced than a lot of stuff that's out there today. But that's the reason why it's not in print now.
Yeah.
I don't think they did that with Heat because it looks like everything else now. It's not head and shoulders above, but it's got just a wonderful insert. It's blow molded, spaces for everything.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. Like I said, there are 4 tracks in the box. The components are nice. The cars are fantastic. I love the cars, the 2-piece cars with the color, with the little colorways snapped onto them. It's fantastic. First impressions, if you can get a hold of it, retail on that one's $89. It was, and it's old enough now where it should have dropped.
Yeah.
But because it's a Days of Winter game, because it's not been as available, it may still stay a little bit high. Even though what I played, and it's the same thing. And I'm not going to ever, I don't think I'm going to ever change this tune when I'm getting ready to tell you. If you've listened to us before, you know what I'm getting ready to say. Do not pay inflated overprices for this game.
Wait.
Yep, do not go to eBay. Don't buy this from somebody even on BGG for $130, even $100. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. Just wait. Yeah, just be patient.
Just be patient.
This one is going to get reprinted. In fact, it has already been reprinted. Alex got a second wave. Yeah, that one of his that he got. So it'll be out because this game released in 2022.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was a second printing. So they're going to get this one back out. It's selling very well, and it is a really clever game.
Yeah.
So even if you don't necessarily like motorsport, that part of the connection obviously won't be there for you. But if you like board games, you're going to enjoy this.
Yeah, well, but the card mitigation, or not mitigation, but the hand management that is inherent in this is
really
fantastic.
good.
Yeah, because this will speak to people who like card games, but this will also speak to people who like racing games.
Yeah. If you like motorsport, fantastic.
Yeah.
So anybody that likes either one of those things, if they're not gamers now, or if you are, this one will be a winner for you.
I'm gonna right now. I mean, I know we're into June, but this is in contention for my favorite game of this year.
Gotcha.
So far,
not mine. It's good though.
Yeah, but it's
one of the games that the game of the year probably is going to have to beat for me.
Okay, fair enough.
It is that. I don't think it'll be the game of the year for me though. So we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's the half the year is gone, and this is the one that I've been looking at already at like all the games that have come into my collection this year, and that what has stayed and what hasn't. And,
right.
And this one is the one where I'm like, I would. You want to play it? Sure, let's go. Let's. Yeah. I mean, like,
no, I got you, and I've cracked a few that we know that are super boring, so we won't get into the dead talk right now. That I finally got to that I'm just like, oh, this is such a good version of this. So those are front runners for me, but we'll see when the time comes how we'll handle that. But that is Heat, Pedal to the Metal, published by Days of Wonder, released in 2022, and that is our first impression of it. We'll give a more proper on the table later on in the summer. We got some more racing games coming for you if you get a chance. Man, sit in front of this one. It is fantastic. And shall we, sir, move on?
Let's do it. That was it for our Summer of Games.
I have no idea what that was.
And it's almost like I'm into like that Halloween voice, maybe.
I have no idea what that was.
Okay, it's my Super Speedway.
Slightly terrifying.
No, I'm sorry. I'm moving on.
Okay.
All right, let's go to break. And we're back. Larry, I'm looking at this next segment and I can't help but shed a tear. I mean, it's like we've
don't go there, man.
It's like we've been here before.
Oh, don't go there.
It's like we've been here before.
Oh, don't go there.
Oh, did you explain to our listeners?
Don't go there.
Did you explain to them?
There's nothing to explain.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen,
there's nothing to explain.
I am going to air out our dirty laundry.
There is nothing to explain. Large editing segment coming. If you hear a bit of a jumble and a cut, people just understand I had to cut out a bunch of fluff. You were saying?
I think that they need to know. I think it's important. Tell them what happened, Larry. Tell them.
I will not.
All right, I'll tell them what happened. Larry and I.
They got to go to Patreon if they want to find out.
No, that's fine. I can send them there. But Larry and I had one of the best conversations.
Even to find out.
Yeah, one of the best conversations. We recorded it. We were going to have an episode for you 2 weeks ago. And when we went to edit, like I literally drove to his house an hour and a half away, and we had a great show. And once we went to the edit, we found out that my microphone wasn't on.
And he was still as loud as I was with my microphone.
Yeah, but it wasn't the quality we wanted to give to you guys.
It was not. Yeah, absolutely not.
And so we're gonna put that up on Patreon.
And I tried. My!
Yeah, Larry, he tried his wizardry.
It got 3.5 hours out of me, but I couldn't make it.
Yeah. That's going to be on one of those things where we want to post. It's one of our lost episodes. But we
now have 2.
Yes, but we're now going to bring back and just kind of give you that conversation because we feel the content was absolutely worth your time, and so therefore we felt it was necessary to even just.
So what are we getting into there, buddy?
We are not. You know what? We're not just going to give you a list of games that we think are good.
Oh, no.
No. We're going to give you games that aren't just good, but they're super good. Hey, it's so good when we get that on. That did not happen when we did all this remote. But now, our not just good but super good lists are not even like top 10 lists, not top 5 lists.
Too many.
Nah, we giving you
too much fluff.
We're giving you top 3
We're
lists.
trimming the fat.
That's right. Just fat trim. Chip, 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 chip. All right. And so ultimately this
That's
time.
tool you're using to trim fat.
My fat clippers. So before I fall off the rails or somewhere.
Oh man, you said before, right?
Yeah. No, okay. Anymore, but we are doing our games that we believe are the best 2-player games, and so. We got into this because about a couple of months ago, I picked up right after another, one after another, two just stellar 2-player games that I've played several times before, and it got me thinking, like, what are the games that I really like? I only want to play this 2-player, either because they A, are designed for 2 players, or B, they just excel on that 1v1 segment. So what we're going to do, both Larry and I have come up with a list, and of course, you know us, we say we stick to 3, but we've got some ties and some honorable mentions. So you're going to get some serious content here, especially if you like 2-player games, but we've got some things that maybe you should look out for and enjoy. So we're going to go over and why we like them, and why they're on our list. Now, these are not necessarily in any particular order, so we will just share them that way. And I'm actually going to start with my first rule breaker, and so that is, but they're tied, so it's kind of a tie, but because they're on the same theme, and that is my favorite 2-player games are one of the ones that actually started this list, as well as one of my favorite games of all time, and that's the Star Wars deck building game that just came out this year, and then tied with Star Wars Rebellion. So quickly, the Star Wars deck building game is a deck building game that is specifically tailored for 2 players. It is meant to be played 1v1. One person is the Rebel Alliance, the other person is the Empire. You have so many familiar mechanics that haven't necessarily ever been put together, and it just, oh my gosh, I truly love this game. It's probably my kids' favorite game of the last 5 years.
Very cool.
I mean, very rare. My kids will pull things off because they're like, Dad, teach us this. Dad, teach us this. That one, they don't ask. They just pull it. My two oldest kids, they will play it. My oldest son brings it to his friend's house and they play it.
Oh, I love it.
Because it's so simple to teach, especially, and if you already know deck building mechanics, there's a few new things that it just makes it so much more engaging. But ultimately, each player has a deck, has your starting deck of kind of resource generators and attack cards, and then some off things that can do some other things. And then you have a deck of 10 planets. Those 10 planets are used as what the other person is attempting to attack. Your first one is a generic planet, and then you can play 3 to 5, or you can play 2, 3, or 5 planets ultimately, and it has a number that you have to attack. Very similar to what's the one the one you combine, Star Realms. So it's very similar to Star Realms. And then
we go with that again.
Yeah, I know, but and I won't spend as much time with that on this one. But you have the middle row, and in the middle row you have 3 types of cards. You either have Rebel cards, the Empire cards, or neutral cards. The Rebel player can only purchase Rebel cards or neutral cards, and the Empire can only purchase Empire cards or neutral cards. But what you can do, though, if you have using your attack power, you can either directly attack the other opponent, or you can attack the opponent's cards within that middle row, which I think is so cool. Then once you vanquish that card, you get a small bonus that you can use on your turn. There are so many, again, familiar pieces that have not necessarily been put together, and it's just done so well. One of the things I love about this game is it's a smaller game.
Very much so.
That could have been. It's one of those things. I every time I pull it out, I go, somebody could have sold this as a big box game as is, and people would have paid $50-$60 for it.
Somebody would have been Fantasy Flight. They're the ones with the license.
I know, and I'm shocked every time I play it to see that they didn't do that, because the box.
I think they're playing the long game,
right? And that's what I hope, because
I do too.
Because I would love to see different iterations of this.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's like rules of how to put them together to play a bigger version or whatnot.
They just need more cards.
Yeah, they just really do. But I love this game so much. Then quickly, let me move to Star Wars Rebellion. We have on this channel, we're not a channel, we're not on YouTube, but on this podcast, we have been talking about.
Supposed to be.
I guess so. Well, you put it up there.
We are on YouTube. Actually, they can hear this part. But,
yeah.
Video stuff was supposed.
Yeah, well, I'm ugly and you have a hair halo.
I don't know hair halo. We established that. I'm completely bald.
You got that meeple cut. Star Wars Rebellion is a huge 2-player epic cat and mouse game, hide and seek, if you will.
It's so good.
One person plays the Rebel Alliance, the other person plays the Empire. The Rebel Alliance has a secret base that the Empire has to find, but then you have giant galactic conflicts. You have little missions where people go on. It can be played 4-player. It's not good at 4-player.
No, play it 2-player.
Yeah,
it said 4 on the box. But,
yeah, no.
And a quick retail note on that one, most likely, unless you catch it on sale, it's still at full retail, which is a $90 game. Yeah. Unless you buy one used, obviously. But let me tell you, don't balk at that.
No, it's looking for 100% worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Now, I will say it's great out of the box, but it does fare significantly better with the Rogue One expansion. It's called Rise of the Empire. So they actually clean up some of the mechanics, make it a little bit easier and a little bit more streamlined, and it actually it gives you more characters and more units. So highly, highly recommend that. That's Star Wars Rebellion with Rise of the Empire, but you don't need Rise of the Empire to enjoy it. Corey Knizia, Fantasy Flight game, and that's an epic, like we're talking like War of the Ring, 2-player, massive,
it's fantastic,
asymmetrical. Just when you want to play Star Wars, play this. Yep. Like if you want to recreate the original trilogy, play this.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so my first 2 kind of similar themed. You up?
Yep. I am going to do this. I see you're pitching curveball, so I'm going to throw one too. These are not in order, so these are just our top 3.
You literally heard me talk about this 2 weeks ago.
So, well, no, it's not that. It's just the order that you're reading them. So I'm going to read this one first on the list, and it is Curious Cargo, which is designed by Ryan Courtney, and this, of course, is published by Capstone Games, was released back in 2020. This is a wonderful little puzzler for 2 players, whereby you are using the tiles that are pipes to get the product, the widgets, whatever the products are, in your factory from their machines that make them to the tractor trailers that will deliver them. And so when you send a tractor trailer from your facility, by taking an action that lets you move it down, it goes to your rival's facility. And so it'll slide theirs down. And so you have to be able to trace a line from a machine to a tractor trailer compartment that needs it to get the cargo in. And of course, the amount of cargo that you ship gets you points, and then there are other ways to get points. But it's a brain teaser. It's a brain-burning little game. It's not that difficult at all to understand, to pick up once you look at it and you understand how you put the pipes. They're color-coded. Obviously you've got to draw a line from A to B. You got all the interesting shapes, and then of course there is the really cool mechanisms with the semi truck and making sure you get them loaded. But man, the mastery of it. And then of course, obviously interacting with your opponent, with them sending the trucks to you or maybe taking your tiles or taking your action. It is just a fantastically, wickedly little fun game. It's kind of one that if you've got a person you're going to play with, because it is 2-player only and you're going to play with on a regular basis, whether you're new gamers or not, this is one you can get in, the 2 of you can get better at, and you can kind of get seasoned and you can have some really good games. Early on, again, it's easy. What you're doing is easy, but why you're doing it is the tough part. But as you get better and the strategies pick up, you can really have some really wickedly fun games with that one. And it's very appealing on the board. It's not super busy, but what it does is pretty neat. It's pretty uniform in an odd way, and it's really, really cool. So really well done, and that is Curious Cargo by Capstone Games, released in 2020. Mr. Alex, your next one, sir.
All right. Next up on my list is probably the most adorable game you could ever play, and that is the game Boop, designed by Scott Brady, published by Smirk and Laughter Games, released in 2022. Boop is a 2-player, I guess you could classify it as a checkers, chess-esque style game. Okay. But ultimately what you do is you have 9 kittens. Each side has 9 kittens. You have the gray kittens and you have the calico kittens. You attempt to place them on I believe it's a 5x5 grid. You place them in a way in which you get 3 kittens together, then you are able to get a cat. No, you get 3 cats if you do that. And then you could put the kittens away, so you upgrade your kittens to cats. And then the ultimate goal is to get 3 cats together. Well, the catch is every time you put a new feline on the board, There are some differing rules, but it pushes every other piece out. So if there are adjacent up and down, it pushes them one square away. If they're diagonal, it pushes them one square away. So you are constantly dropping pieces on the board, setting yourself up to push one piece into another piece, or actually have your piece sort of stop another piece from moving. And so it's deceptively complex, but it's very simple to grasp, at least the core mechanic. But when you actually get playing, it's golly, Bill. Jackson and I started playing this.
Wait, who's Bill?
Jackson and I started playing this the first time we got it, and we played 3 or 4, and it felt really deterministic, kind of like tic-tac-toe. Like, oh, well, the first person always goes, whoever goes first always wins, because they'll do this and this and this and this, until we started to see, wait, there's some other strategies here, and then it just completely opened up for us. Please do not sleep on this game. If you are a couple, or you are someone who occasionally you have a person that you play with, maybe it's like, hey, there's like 15 minutes before our gaming group gets here. This game is so good at 2-player. It's absolutely worth it. And the cuteness factor will draw people in. Little Noah, so my 6-year-old, we'll just play it. So we'll get rid of the kittens and we'll just do the cats. And he's just like, the cat, boop. And and we play the boop rule. So every time something boops, we make the boop noise. But guys, boop. You got to play boop. You got to play boop. So, and I'm just going to say boop as many times as possible because I want it in your brain. Oh, did you find Ben's one quadrillion?
Your middle son gave me $1 billion.
$1 billion. $1 billion. So it's a piece of paper with
so many zeros.
So many zeros. And Larry just found it. Well, that's your tip, Larry. $1 billion. So
we got to take a picture.
Okay, but hey, we're still recording, my friend. Take a picture later. What is your next game on your 2-player list?
I can do 2 things at once.
No, you can't.
I can't do 2 things at once. Case in point, I'm going to do my second game, which actually you've already covered.
Okay.
Which is the Star Wars deck building game. Because it is a really, really good game. I can't really add a whole lot more than you. Like you said, we won't get into the, Star Realms thing. We talked about that last time, and it was really good, but we can't capture that lightning in the bottle again. If you like Star Realms, I think you'll like this one. Everything that Alex said about it, the interactivity with the cards in the middle, that is a brilliant piece. That is something that clearly somebody sat down and said, hey, how do we differentiate this game? How do we make it cool? And that is a really cool mechanic. Well done on that. Being able to buy the cards, your cards, or being able to bounty hunt or sabotage, those are the terms that they use. The other factions' cards out of the middle row is fantastic. The little bit of strategy, which I remember you saying about when to put your planet out, because you read the game state. Yeah. That part too is brilliant. Yeah, because you have access to all the planets. You're only going through 3 of them, I think, but you have access to all of them. So as the game state changes, that depends on which planet you bring out. And that, for me, that's one of the things that they could do, obviously easy in an expansion, is giving you more planets to choose from to change the state. Because right now they're the same powers, just on each different side. So coming out with some planets that are a little bit more asymmetrical, maybe a little bit more flavored, or even introducing another faction or 2 that has their own, even if they're mirroring each other, different from those first 2, that would be of tremendous value to this one. You should be able to still find this one. Something else you didn't mention, if you can find an early edition, or if you go in and they have it marked and they say free sleeves, man, pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
Those sleeves that come with it, they're Gamegenic sleeves. I don't know if they're going to sell them separately. They gave them away with that first print run of the game. You got enough to actually sleeve the game and then have some extras left over, but it's the same art that's on the box, which is Vader and Luke, but it's just them. It doesn't have all of the writing that's on the cover, but they're gorgeous. They're matte and they're fantastic. They're really high quality. Really, really a wonderful game. And again, that's the Star Wars deck building game, designed by Caleb Grace. They're in-house, published by Fantasy Flight Games. And of course, this one was released in 2023. Sir, what is your next one?
All right. And my final game on my list before my honorable mention list. Actually, I'm going to do my honorable mention list, and then I'll give... No.
Too many curves, man.
All right, fair. All right. I don't like to be curvy. I want to be straight.
He's throwing a softball in a baseball game. Come on, put the football down.
All right, so my last 2-player game that is on my not just good, but super good list would be Onitama. This is designed by Shinpei Sato and published by Arcane Wonders.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I know. So ultimately, I think it's a 4x4 grid. You have 5 pieces. No, it's a 5x5 grid. You have 5 pieces. You have 4 pawns and 1 sensei. And then you shuffle up and deal out 5 cards, and those 5 cards have movement.
You get to.
But I mean, those 5 cards, they have movement pictures on them, and so it says, this one card is called the Way of the Bear, and it gives you your starting space, and then it gives you 2 or 3 other spaces that you can actually move any particular piece into. So you get 5 of those. They're all different, and that's it. It's a perfect information game. So I get 2 in my hand. My opponent gets 2, and then there's 1 that I will receive once I've played my card. So I will play my 1 movement. I move any of my 5 pieces according to those rules on the card, and then
you have to trade it with the
and then I send that card. I get the card that's in the kind of in the hopper, if you will, and so it just rotates like that. And if your pawn or your sensei lands on another piece, it's just like chess. You claim that off, and it's the first player to claim the other player's sensei. They win by it's called the Path of War, I believe.
That's a little different than chess. Chess, you jump over it, but this is, it's like you have to land on it.
Well, no, chess, you land on the
same space. Well, you take
space.
the space. No, I'm thinking checkers.
You're thinking checkers. Yeah.
Right.
So Path of War is one of your pieces claims their sensei, or the Path of Peace is you have one spot on each side. It's in the center and the far end. It's the dojo. It's kind of the home spot. If you can get your sensei to the home spot, then it's the Path of Peace. You've won really either way. Yeah, it is. It's so great. It has that cool chess feel without being, the variables don't skyrocket for you.
Yeah. It's really cool.
And every piece has multiple movements because of the card. So every card can be used on every piece. Really implementation of this, it's has a play mat that comes with the board that rolls up, and then you have those pieces. There's just the shading the whole production value of this is just top notch, and so I love it to death. I love it, and that's why it made it not just good, but super good list. And that's Onitama by Shinpei Sato,
published by Arcane Wonders. This one was released way back in 2014. It's good stuff.
2014,
good stuff. And so for me, my third one, before I get to my honorable mention as well, is going to be Battlelore, first edition. This is the one designed by Richard Borg, published by Days of Wonder. This is the version released way back in 2006. I realized there is a modern product called Battlelore from Fantasy Flight. That's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the original Battlelore first edition that was comically overproduced for 2006 because it's better produced than a lot of modern stuff. It is fantastic. Mm-hmm. The blow molded insert is fantastic. The tolerances are extremely tight. I mean, the pieces fit and don't wiggle around. There's a space for everything. There's so many minis in that box. Mm-hmm. There's like 300 minis in that box. It's a fantastic box. You've got the linen finish on it. The box has a linen finish on it. It got a linen finish on everything. And it's just fantastic. And this, of course, is more of a fantasy offshoot of Richard Borg's Command and Colors game system, which, of course, is recreating ancient battle times where you've got the middle and then you've got the phalanxes and you've got each of the flanks on either side, left and right flank. And that's how you get cards. And this when you're generating mana to be able to move your troops. They did release an expansion that you could play it historically with like the Scottish, some of the battles from Scotland, but the base game comes, it's goblins and orcs and, humans and it's fairies and magic and stuff. And so that was kind of their attempt to do that, to add a little bit of normalcy into it by adding the Scottish stuff. There's quite a few expansions to it. The original version is really expensive, but it's a really fun little simple little war game that's broken down. The Command and Colors speaks for itself. I mean, that engine is legendary. Richard Borg is legendary. If you don't know who he is, like I said the first time, look him up. Not gonna tell you, look him up. And this engine is fantastic. And again, the production on this one is incredible. I've posted pictures of it before, way back when the show was really early. It's one of the first things we covered. So I may get my copy out and take some more pictures to put up when we put this one up there, because it's such a beautiful production. But that again is Battlelore. That's first edition, designed by Mr. Richard Borg, published by Days of Wonder, released back in 2006. I only have one honorable mention, so I'm going to jump right into my honorable mention. And it was so close to making the list. It's so good. And that is Tardif, which is designed by Andreas Steiger and published by Cosmos, was originally released in 2012. When I was working retail back this past fall and people came in asking for a 2-player game, I immediately would look to the shelf. If we had that one, I'd just walk to it and just put it in their hand. And to me, I was like, this is the best 2-player game we have in here. And we had Seven Wonders Duel, and we had Splendor Duel, and we had some other really good ones. But to me, it was, and it is fantastic. I know it's a shame that it's not on the list, but we can only do 3, just the cream of the crop. But this game is so good. Alex actually introduced me to this one electronically. The first time I played it with him on Board Game Arena. And this one is really cool. You've got, I think, 9 cards in the middle. And then they change. They're going to change, and they're going to change out. And you've got a track around the outside that you put down every time. That's the same. You put an individual piece on that track outside, and it moves around. It functions as a timer, and it interacts with the game. When it's on that space, you can't go to that space. During your turn, you place out one of your people. Your opponent then places one of theirs. You place your second person. They place theirs. Then you place each of your targi, which are round markers, in the intersection of where you placed your first 2 pieces. So you get all of those resources. So where you place your first 2 guys and on their 2 resource pieces. Early in the game, it's fairly easy to get something from all 4 spaces, but as it goes on, things get tight because those cards in the middle can be purchased because there are also things you can add to your own camp. Things get tight, and maybe you may have a turn or 2 where you don't get to use all 4 spaces. But that's just a brilliant strategy in this game. Its pacing is so tight. Like I said, the guy going around the outside is also the timer. If you don't complete your grid of 3x3 or 3x4, actually, if you don't complete that, then when the Baron, I guess whoever the robber gets around, that's into the game. So either when somebody completes their space or when he gets back around, that ends the game. You finish the turn and then you count up the points. It is such an elegantly wonderful little 2-player game. Don't let the box art throw you off. It's not bad. It just has nothing to do, it doesn't seem like, really with the gameplay. It does with the culture. It fits 100% with the culture, but you won't know what the game is maybe when you go and take a look at that one. But that one is so good. If you're looking for a well-designed, taut, tight 2-player game, Tardif by Andreas Steiger, published by Cosmos, released in 2012, is the one you want. My honorable mention, Mr. Alex.
All right, I am going to quickly go through 3 games that I have spoke at length through over the last several years, but I do think you need to put them on your radar if you are interested in 2-player games. First, that is Seven Wonders Duel. It's an amazing adaptation for 2 players of Seven Wonders, specifically for 2 players.
See?
Yeah, it's... see what?
I say it's good. It made your list. Seven Wonders Duel is good.
Yeah, Seven Wonders is great.
Target's better. Seven Wonders is great.
I don't disagree there. I think Target's just a cleaner design. I think Seven Wonders is wonderful.
Yeah, it gets my full endorsement.
Yes,
no part of me won't endorse it. I felt great when we had Seven Wonders Duel instead of Target.
Yeah, but I think Target is just edges it out just a little bit more. Next up is probably. It's not going to win any Game of the Year awards, but it is such a fun little game and a fun little puzzle, and that's Aqualin.
I hadn't played that one.
Yeah, by Cosmos Games. And then finally, I don't really. This one, it should have made my list, and honestly, the only reason it made my honorable mentions is because I haven't played it recently. But that's War Chest from AEG.
Oh God.
I literally have spent hours talking about this game.
Yeah, the reason why it's not on my list was because it makes yours.
Yeah, but War Chest is theming to game to every piece about this game.
Presentation.
Yeah, presentation. Components. Again, the only reason it's not on my top was because I just literally haven't played it in about a year or 2. But I would say War Chest is easily in my top 10 favorite games of all time. So you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to move. I don't know. See, but I look at all those. You know what?
We're going to do that bookkeeping off air.
Yeah, but all right. So War Chest is on my good, but it's on my list. But it's just so
there you
good.
go. There's our top 3 2-player games with some honorable mentions. We are going to move on because we got some summer games business to get to. And one more first impression right after this.
Oh, this is... Stay tuned, because this is going to get a little heated. Not like the card game that we just played, but like actual the conversation, because Larry and I disagree about something, and so we'll find out after the break.
Ain't nothing new about that. And we are back. And we're going to jump right into another quick first impression before we get on to our Summer of Games game choice. And this time is one that we both kickstarted. Alex clued me into this one. And then I jumped on it and got everything. I think he got everything. Everything was the smart move here in terms of the Kickstarter.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, this is a first impression. Alex has played it at a higher play count than me. No surprise there. So that's one of the reasons why we have.
And I've played it.
We probably won't differ as much as you think because I haven't played it multiplayer. So I really don't. I won't be able to.
Well, yeah, but I will say, but I've also put in. We put in about 8 hours. Like in so.
Right.
So I'm just.
Right. And I've not played that much time. Probably about 3. Well, not in one sitting. I probably played about 3 hours maybe total, but not in one sitting. And all of mine were solo though.
Okay.
So, but we're talking about League of Dungeoneers, and this one's designed by Michael Lundstedt, published by Von Browse Publishing, released in 2023. And let me say this before we get into our first impressions of it. Michael Lundstedt, amazing job designing, amazing Kickstarter. He's been communicative.
Yeah.
They got this thing produced.
Yep.
His shipping was high based on where it ended up going. There were some things, some rookie mistakes, so to speak, that he made in terms of where it was delivered after it was done. But he gave people their money back.
Yep.
If the shipping was too high, he said he completely understood. He's been up front. Bravo.
And I'm just going to say this. If
Bravo.
After you hear Larry and I speak, if you are interested, he is proposing very soon we'll be having a second run Kickstarter for an updated version with some expansions.
Yep.
So, but listen to, because I think it's so important that you listen to Larry and I, because Larry and I are going to have a different view of this game. And our hope is that you decide if this game is for you or not.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to say this right now. The game, it does exactly what it promises. And it does it so well.
We could drop the mic right here.
Yeah, it does it so well. Like this, by no means is this a poorly designed game, a bad game. The production is through the roof. It is like, it's fantastic in all of those aspects. This game is absolutely not for me. So I'm just I want you to hear me. I didn't like it because I didn't like what it was trying to do. And the other people with me were in the same realm. Now, with that said, it did what it was trying to do exceptionally well.
Right. And I'll echo what Alex said. It's extremely important that you pay attention to what we're saying and how we're saying it. Alex's game group is rightly so, like your game group hopefully is. They're like-minded, and you should be, because you guys are playing games together, you're enjoying games together. Even if one or two of your members is new, they're kind of getting used to the flavor. So listen to what he's saying. The group has a flavor. There is no right or wrong about that. They like what they like, just like everyone has a chance to. This game didn't work for them. And again, I think it's great.
But see, it worked for you.
It did. But that type of game worked for me. I knew it was going to before I got it. For me, it was a matter of how it was implemented. Yeah. In terms of going to the tables and the crunch of it. Yeah. And I think he did a fantastic job.
Exactly. All right. So let me explain the major issue here of what turned us off of this. Is that this game, over all things else, is based on this old school way of playing of percentile dice and table referencing. And so literally every action in the game, you have to roll some sort of percentile dice, then check a chart to determine what has happened, whether or not the monster hits you, what kind of thing it does, and all of this. And for me, all of that, it was such a I just wanted to play the game. I wanted to experience all the, build up my guy, put on equipment, do this, that, and the other. But there was Michael Lundstedt has spent so much time going so deep into the minutia of everything. If you have ever just said, man, I really like to play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or some sort of something similar to that, where everything is RNG and in this, and you have very little, you just want that really, you love stats and numbers and tables and all of this. Guys, this is the absolute best way to play old school role playing. Just because you can do it by yourself, you can do it with a small group. You don't need a DM because, again, it has been so well implemented. Yeah,
and it was designed that way. Yes, you can use one, but you don't have to.
Right, but there was so much bookkeeping for me that after our 8-hour play session, we were like, we've given this as much time as we can, and it was like neither of us, we all four of us were like, I think we would play something else instead of and that's if no one wants to bring it back out, because it was for us.
Yeah.
The pace of it was so much slower than what we were hoping for.
And so when you pointed it out to me, my first impression was, oh, this would be great for getting it in. And then when I want to create a dungeon crawler or supplement one that I already have, man, look at all the stuff in the box.
Right.
This would be great.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, hey, he's doing a game too. So that's cool. We'll play his game. But I'm getting this primarily for the components. This is crazy.
Right.
But then I got it and I read it. And well, as he got into it and he started talking about the systems and he started showing it and showing the tables, I started getting super excited. And I knew then. I said, Alex is going, I'm not going to say nothing. I want him to get it. And I didn't say anything, and not because I was trying to set him up, but I wanted to see. I said, maybe it will expand. Maybe he'll like it. Maybe this will be the version of that he likes. But he's absolutely right. Obviously, I'm a bit older than Alex, and so I remember some earlier gameplay. Like he said, what he alluded to, it is from a different era. I think it's a little bit more modern version, but yes, it is designed to be that crunchy. That is the point. It's funny. It was why I was laughing when you were like, I just want to play the game. I'm like, that is playing the game when you're in it. At no point in time when I'm in there creating, one of the first things I did before I ever played, when I was reading the rules and learning how to do it, I created I homebrewed another race. I looked, I said, oh, I want a halfling. I want an elf human halfling. And I sat there and I looked at what he'd already done and I created it. And of course, you know me, I run my backstory. And I said, I can't wait to play with this guy. This is great. But there's no part of it that doesn't get me into going into the dungeon, going into the party. My mind just automatically fills in the gaps when I'm grabbing the dice and rolling them. And whatever happens, whether it's good or bad, my mind just fills that in. So, and for me, and for gamers like me, gamers that we either raised on games like that or play games like that, or who has such that their theater of the mind is working that way. This system is going to be perfect for you. Not just this game, but a system like this. Because like I said, there is no tedium for me, but I understand why it is, which is, what did I suggest to you at first when you told me that? I was like, you don't have to play with those rules.
Yeah.
If you want to simplify it, then do.
Yeah.
Cut some of the table stuff out, make some ideas and do what you want to do and go from there. And that's possible. I think that's one of the wonderful possible things with the box. But for me, in terms of doing an old school dungeon crawl and what this pretty much personifies for me, the way it's made, when you're checking the tables, that is the ultimate of this is a true adventure. Because you literally don't know what's going to happen. You don't have much mitigation. You got to deal with, like you said, with everything.
Yeah.
As everything that's going to happen, you're going to have to deal with it raw.
Yeah.
And to me, that's ultimate adventure. It's like, oh, I can't wait to do this. I'm so excited.
And you know what this is to me is the direct opposite of like a Wrath of a Shardalon.
Oh, yeah.
Or a Castle Ravenloft.
Absolutely.
When people bought those boxes and were like, I want a deep role-playing experience, and they go, oh,
I was asking for this, just didn't know it.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
they say, be careful what you ask.
I only get, to level up once, and that kind of stuff. And then there's this kind of big, like, oh, letdown. Well, this goes the complete opposite direction. You have, like, everything is created for you through randomization and all of those kinds of things. It is so deep, yet...
I don't even see your box. Is your box already gone?
Yeah. I
knew it was going to be. But
yeah. No, it was, because it was still highly sought after.
Oh, just like last week, man.
Yeah, I know. But I found a buyer, and
for like a week.
He paid me more than I paid for it.
Oh, that's what the new car in the driveway is for. Okay, I wonder where that came. I was going to ask you later. What?
Nah, I still drive my little sad car. Don't let Larry fool you. So ultimately, I want to say this. First impressions that this...
A really happy face and a really sad, confused face.
No, I would say...
already sold
it. No, I'm the...
Guess who is who?
I'm the little face with the dollar signs in the eyes.
On this edition of How Long Did Alex Keep It?
It sat for a month and a half.
Long enough for you to find a buyer.
No, it took us a month and a half before we actually played it, but we took a whole Saturday. And again, like, I'm getting better. Like, I get
it. And my copy ain't going away.
Yeah. But again,
my copy will outlive me, sadly.
But I'm going to say this, like, if any part of this interests you, like, guys, as far as like a monetary value, like they're not asking for much.
No,
but and the amazing content that you get. But I do suggest taking a look.
The shipping was high.
Yeah.
Shipping was over half the price of the game.
Oh, no.
Actually,
was it? I don't remember that.
Yeah, shipping was $70.
I don't remember that, but regardless,
still,
it was still worth it.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, again,
because those two together were still under 200.
Yeah, and so again, there's a new. He's launching a new campaign.
Well under.
So with some updated content and all that. But yeah, I'm going to just...
I'm going to quickly fact check myself.
All right. Well, as Larry does that, we will go to a small break. Oh, wait. There was my scary voice again.
Man, I'm going to need you to put that dude back in your pocket.
I'm going back into my pocket. And we are back just to say, wow.
No, man, we got one more thing to do.
I know, but we can say wow.
No, we can't say wow. Yeah, we ain't done
Okay, I retract my wow.
Yeah, retract the wow and say it backwards.
Okay. Wow.
And fact checking myself, no, shipping was what I said it was, but that was not half the price. It was $135.
Okay.
So
cool.
So together they were right at $200. But still, that's still a steal for what you get.
Yeah.
But okay. All right.
So Larry, what are we gonna do before we give them the wow?
We have to give them our Summer of Games game choice.
Absolutely.
And as I said earlier, in when we were talking about it, what we do with this one, this is a game that we have put some thought into. We've played it enough to say, seriously, when you stop listening to this, you can be in your car on the way to your FLGS, and you should be, because that's a good thing to do. When you get there, ask for the game, one of the games, or both of them, that Alex and I are about to give you. We guarantee you're going to have a blast. And if you tag us on Instagram or on Facebook with you playing the game or with the game set up. I know a lot of people don't like to put people in their shot, so you don't have to. But if it's your table and you've got it set up and you're playing it and you tag us at the Spoken Token, we're going to collect those. And at the end of the summer, we've got a gift. We try to do a giveaway every year.
We do, and we literally are the only ones who get the gift because
we end up buying it for ourselves.
Yes,
so someone, please.
Actually, 1 year, Dave won 1 year because he was our only applicant, and Alston won 1 year because he was our only applicant. So, guys, the pool is really small here.
Like it's a kiddie pool.
Yeah, no, it's actually one of those little like ketchup cups. You know that you like.
You put your toe in.
That's right. Seriously,
just try. If you just look at it, you're gonna win.
For real.
So send a picture with you playing one of the games that we're going to mention. It doesn't have to be this week. Tune in or this episode. Forgive me, we're not weekly yet. This episode. Tune in every episode during our Summer of Games, and any one of those games. If you tag us, you're in the running.
I'm going to just say this right now. Even if you don't play one of those games.
No. It's got to be one of those. It has to be one of those.
Okay, well, for those of you who don't listen. Hey, Larry, what is that over there?
It got to be one of those games.
Okay. All right.
Don't accept no bootleg gifts from Alex because it might not be from my Alex. It might not be from this Alex. If it didn't come from the Spoken Token. So one of these games.
It might come from me.
It's okay, y'all. Alex don't have access to the email, so I'm the only one.
That's true.
So it's coming to me. So it needs to be one of the games that we're going to talk about, and we're going to start off today. I'm going to get us started. Mine is one that we talked about, possibly in an episode that you haven't heard yet.
And may never hear again.
Well, you'll hear it over on Patreon eventually. But that is Rolling Realms by Jamie Stegmaier, published, of course, by Stonemaier Games. Came out initially in 2021. Alex and I got a chance to play this before we recorded the last one. That system's fantastic. Yeah. It's so cool. And when you they've got so many packs now and so many expansions. It's like $7 or $8, or I think it's $10 for the expansions. And what it is it's 6 cards. They're identical because the way you play this one, everyone has the same card. So same cards, there are 11 cards in it. And so when you start, the start player picks out 3 realms to use. Everyone goes to their deck and finds those same realms. And then you roll dice. And you use the 2 numbers on the dice as the resources to fill in on the realms however you see fit.
And that's it.
But you're using the same realms. Then when you go through 9, that's a round. And then the next person goes, they pick 3 different realms, and it goes on. But it's so good. But the really cool thing is how the realms play. Mm-hmm. They're on 1 card. They're brilliant. Everyone we've run across is brilliant. But it's so cool because it's like other parts of your collection.
Yeah, they're all based on board games.
Yeah, board games. And they started with Stonemaier Games, but now, thankfully, he's branched out and he's getting games from other publishers and other designers in there. And it's so good. Yeah. And it's $20 for the base game.
And then, the expansions. Yeah.
So go, and there's plenty in the base box. So go and find yourselves. It's readily available. You can get it from Stonemaier if your FLGS doesn't have it. If your FLGS doesn't have it, and you don't want to go to one of the OLGSs, so Miniature Market, cool stuff, get it from Stonemaier.
Oh, yeah. And they'll send it to you quick.
Don't order it anybody. Go to Stonemaier. Just go on and order it. You will not be sorry that you did it. So good. Rolling Realms by Jamie Stegmaier. Stollmeyer Games released in 2021.
All
Your
right.
game choice is?
My game choice is actually one that is related to our Summer of Games. It is a racing game.
Bonus.
Yes, bonus. But that is Camel Up by Stefan Bogen. I want to say Bogen because it's just fun, but I think it's Bogen.
And it's Angela Johnson folding herself like a camel. Oh, so funny.
And it's
Have you seen it?
I know.
Oh, so good. And it's safe. So she's a comedian. Guys, if you hadn't, I know, squirrel moment, and it's from Larry, but Angela Johnson folding herself like a camel. Hilarious.
Okay. All right. Well, my favorite camel moment is that Geico commercial is like, hey, Mike, you know what day it is? You know what day it is? It's Wednesday. That's right. Hump day. You know, it's camel and it's funny. Okay. All right. Regardless.
I don't know what number that was.
Oh, my gosh. Look that up. The Geico Camel Hump Day. All right. But regardless, Camel Up, Stefan Bogen, published by Eggerspiel. It's a great little racing game that you're betting on camels. It's fun. High player count. Great for the family. So that's what I recommend. Go out, get today so that you can race with us. So now for the official frontwards or backwards. Wow. Or if we want to just mix it up, it's the or the wah.
No, we've gone too far.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you've gone too far.
So, guys, we are so thankful for you following along with us. Please go listen to us wherever you can. Like us on all the social medias, the Facebooks and the Twitters and the Instagrams and all the things. Tell people about us. Go to Patreon. Throw us a few bucks because I promise you, we are worth it. And we've got some cool stuff we'd love to give to people, but they just won't take it. But for the spoken token, I am Alex Wallace saying, keep playing.
And I am Larry Neal saying, keep communicating. This has been the Spoken Token Podcast. If you would like to interact with us, please find us at Facebook, at The Spoken Token, on Instagram, at The Spoken Token Podcast. Our Twitter account is at The Spoken Token. Email is thespokentokenpodcast@gmail.com. And our BGG guild number is 2656.
You are listening to a Pod Studio One Podcast Network podcast. Find more great podcasts at www.podstudio1.com.